And welcome to Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports. My name is John. Along with me, as always, is Shawn. Shawn, how are you this Thursday evening?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We are 56 days away from NFL kickoff between the Bills and Rams. And I know that time's going to go by even quicker. Training camp start for a lot of these teams within the next week or so. Preseason starts, I believe, August 4th. So once
Yeah.
preseason starts, those 4 weeks are going to fly by. So eight weeks to go, and half of that will be taken up with preseason. Um, so yeah, I mean, not much has been going on in terms of free agency and stuff like that. So nothing much going on there. But Sean and I have been sharing our top 10 quarterbacks, top 20 receivers, and running backs. And now tonight we'll be sharing each of our top 10 tight ends. Um, and then after that, some different things coming. We'll be taking a closer look at team by team basis on team projections, their player projections. But Sean, we have a fantasy league set up, some DraftKings stuff set up. So
hmm
why don't you talk a little bit about the DraftKings stuff, and I will post links in the chat for all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna set it up so that we can have it that you don't have to play a yearly long fantasy. If you want to play just one day, 1 week, or the whole season, you can. But we're gonna do it for Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night, and then we'll do all day Sunday ones, just so you don't have to have one locked in fantasy team. Because if someone drafts, a player you like, you're like, all right, I don't have to worry about it, and it won't be anything super expensive. Maybe $5-10 at most. Just people can participate and play along.
Yeah, so we'll do that. I'm putting the links in the chat for that. If you haven't signed up on DraftKings, use that first link. Helps both of us. It helps. They give you a bonus. They give us a bonus as well. But then there's
Mm-hmm.
for the DraftKings League, and I will put the Yahoo Fantasy Free League in there as well. So once that gets filled up, Sean came up with some great prizes for that. That we'll announce once we're full.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, hopefully it gets full.
yeah, so I think once training camp or once preseason starts, guys will start looking into it a little bit more. But while we're waiting for hopefully some more people to show up, let's take a look at the latest headlines from the NFL here. I do have that on the screen here, so let's look. Make that a little bit bigger. Trending. Oh, this just came. Brandon Ayuk pokes fun at the Trey Lance arm fatigue narrative. Um, I had not heard anything about arm fatigue about Lance. Have you heard any of that?
No, I haven't either. I've seen some videos where it's like he's really underthrowing players, so it's kind of concerning.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a note of that, and we'll look into that to see what's going on there. Quote from Ravens former Ravens Marquise Brown and Lamar Jackson: "The narrative they're trying to create on my dog is ridiculous. He can run the show in any type of offense. He just so happened to be in the one he in and doing it at a top level. Well, when he can stay healthy, that's the problem. Right now, he can't stay
Yeah,
healthy, and
absolutely.
running quarterbacks do not last long in the NFL, unfortunately. So,
Especially when they're not healthy.
yeah. White Bengals. Cincinnati announces white helmets coming for the 2022 season. They did not. I did see
That's
the video they put out. They did not show the helmet, so I don't know if it's all
I
season
think it's a
long.
color rush.
Oh, okay. Well, they all right. Well, I know teams are allowed to use two helmets this year, so um,
Yeah, I think they're using their color rush the helmets from those uniforms, the white ones with the black stripes. I think that's what they're doing.
yeah, so we'll see if we can find the picture of that. I am still talking to somebody about coming on and talking about the Bengals, so hopefully we can get a picture of that before that guy comes on and talks to us. Steelers, Alex Highsmith aiming for 10 to 12 sack mark in 2022. I'm really high on the Steelers defense. I know their offense is going to struggle a little bit this year, not knowing if Trubisky or Pickett's going to be the quarterback. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, what are you thinking? we're not going to do our rankings on the defense, but what do you think of the Steelers defense? They could be on the field a lot this year.
Yeah, that's my only concern is how much are they on the field and how much does that wear them down overall.
Yes, let's keep going through the news here. Pick rookies and second-year players they're buying. Vikings and Bucks have interest in Kyle Rudolph, former Viking there, Shawn, maybe coming home.
Yeah, I don't know though. I don't know how I feel about him wanting to come back home.
Bears Darnell Mooney has bulked up to 183 pounds this offseason as he's working to try to be Chicago's number one option. I know going into last year, Shawn, you were very high on Mooney. Are you still high on Mooney? I know Fields is still a question mark.
Yeah, I think that's where it kind of comes down to is the question mark of Fields and how he plays this year. Now that it is his second year and he is the full-time quarterback.
Yeah, so let's keep looking here. Let's see here. What Tom Brady is saying about playing until he's 50. Carson Wentz new teammates are saying about him, and Josh Allen to the Hall of Fame. First off, right now it's way too early to talk about Josh Allen to the Hall of Fame. But if he keeps putting up numbers like he has the last season and a half, that will probably happen. But Tom Brady playing till he's 50. What do you think of that, Shawn?
He's gonna play. Who knows? But I don't see it happening.
This is fake. This is the Bengals' new white stripe helmet. This is fake. This was created by a fan. All it did, it looks like he turned a lot of this black and white. So that was proven to be fake already. Dalton Schultz and Gesicki playing did not come to contracts. So it looks like they'll be free agents again in 2023, which would be good for them because right now, if you look at that lineup, Schultz, Gesicki should be far and above.
Honestly, yeah, they'll easily get paid really well with those guys all there.
Yo, our guy Ryan Cannon is here. Ryan, what's up, buddy? How are you? Hope you had a great day. Are you streaming later? Let me know. I'll check out your stream as well. Thanks for hopping in. If you're still here, tell Meatball. Remind Meatball I sent him the link for the fantasy league. So make sure he jumps in on that. Former All-Pro tackle Mitchell Schwartz announces his retirement. Ooh, kind of late in the offseason to be doing that. Wonder what kind of pressure that puts on the Chiefs' offensive line now.
I can see them honestly. Just since he's retiring, you lose that money on it. You won't have to pay that money towards him, and you probably can go out and get it during free agency. Go out and get a cheaper guy, maybe on a 1-2 year deal max. And obviously he's a lot cheaper, so you get to save money and you can go maybe get other players as well.
Yeah, so let's take a look here. Gesicki, we talked about that already. Are two of the better teams in the AFC making mistakes as we head into the 2022 season. And here we go. Top 5 tight ends per ESPN. Shawn, we'll start getting into our rankings here. But ESPN's got Kittle 1, Kelsey 2, Waller 3, Andrews 4, Pitts 5. Do you have Kittle? Let's not reveal that yet. Do you? I don't know what I want. I do not have Kittle number 1. I'll do my rankings first. I do not have Kittle number 1.
Yeah, it's a far stretch, honestly. Yeah. Not when you have no quarterback.
Yeah, that's the big thing for me. Let me pull up my notes here, and we'll get into my top 10 rankings for tight ends. Oops. So hopefully, trying to figure out some new software to use, Shawn, where I don't have to keep doing this back and forth. It'll just be able to hit a button. But yeah, let's look here. Let's put. I believe you did mine first.
Mm-hmm.
Let's switch. Yeah, I just saw your message. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Banners. Let's put this on as well. So let's look. My top 10. Let me get back to my notes again. I have Zach Ertz at number 10. He finished last year number 5. And this year in our projections, I actually have him at number 9. He had a career resurgence there after being traded to Arizona. From week 7 to week 18, his time there in Arizona, he was actually the 4th best tight end. And in weeks 1 through 6, he was 15th best tight end. So definitely a great jump for him there. He fits in well with that offense. So that's why I have Ertz at number 10.
Yeah, he went from being a backup to being a guaranteed starter again, and I think that's exactly what he wanted, and that's why he signed his contract there in the offseason to be back there in Arizona.
Yeah, so definitely, and especially even if Hopkins misses, even if it's 3 games, right now it's 6, but if he fights it and it's 3, Ertz will be a big weapon on that offense, even more without Hopkins.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's why he came in at number 10 for me.
Alrighty, you're number 9.
I have Pat Fryermuth. I did notice we spelt his name wrong on the slides here. That's all right. That's my fault. You asked me if everything was okay. I looked at it. I said yes. But last year, Fryermuth was 13th to finish the season. I actually have him 11th this year in projection standings. But I like him 9th. I know they do have a question at quarterback, or I might have had him a little bit higher than 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe he will be a safety valve for either if it's Trubisky or Pickett there at quarterback. Second year, they're staying with the same offensive play scheme, so that should help as well. So I think he's going to be a safety valve, like I said, for either if it's Trubisky or Pickett, and that's why I have him at 9.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing I'm concerned with is the quarterback and how they play. Is he just a safe player to go to, kind of down low, get a few yards, get a lot of catches, or is he kind of going to be used for bigger plays, more as like a wide receiver kind of player out of the slot? That's the only concern I have is what kind of playing ability does he have with this new offensive quarterback now?
So we'll keep an eye on him. So I like him a lot.
Number 8.
TJ Hawkinson from the Lions. Hawkinson was averaging last year. He missed 5 games, so he finished 15th overall. I actually have him projected as 8th this year, and ranked him at 8th as well. Yeah, but last year he was averaging 12.1 points a game, and if you would have factored that into the 5 games he missed, he would have finished 4th in 2021. So that's why I have him. I think he'll jump from 15 to 8. So that's why I put him here. I know they did draft they do have St. Brown, and they drafted Williams, I believe from Alabama, but he's going to miss some time at the beginning of the year. So Hawkinson should also be a big part of that offense, especially early on in the year.
Yeah, I think regardless, so he'll be used a lot too in the early downs when they throw early in the downs, just because of his size and his ability to get bodies moving. He could get you a decent chunk change on a first or second down as well.
Yeah, agreed. So I know Harold's not here. Wonder what Harold's take is on Hawkinson, with him being a Lions fan. But yeah, let's keep moving here.
All right, you're number 7.
This is where I have George Kittle, where ESPN's got him number 1. He did miss 3 games last year and still finished number 4. But I just have too many question marks for what's going on there in San Francisco. If Jimmy G stays, Kittle jumps up a little bit for me. But
Absolutely.
if it's Lance, Lance is gonna drop down here about 7 or 8, I think.
Yeah, I guess it all comes down to the quarterback situation with Lance, or if it's Jimmy G. Because if it's Jimmy G, Kittle's double his value. If it's Lance, you almost are at risk of even wanting him in a draft.
Yeah, agreed, and that's why it might be good to wait if you're doing fantasy leagues this year, wait until either sign up for our DraftKings league where it's a weekly thing. It's like Shawn said, Thursday nights and then game Sundays and Monday nights as well. So this way you don't have to worry about if you draft Kittle and he's not performing well. You can pick somebody new next time.
Your number 6.
I have Dallas Goedert from Philadelphia. Excuse me. Last year he finished ninth. Missed 2 games and still finished ninth. But my biggest thing for Goddard is Hurts needs to stop running the ball. He's got plenty of weapons around him now. So adding like AJ Brown to that mix. They got Smith as well. I forget who the running back is out of the backfield, but
Sanders.
Miles Sanders, yeah. And so that should open up things a little bit more for Goddard, I think, in this offense. And if Hurts can start throwing the ball a little bit more instead of running, like I said, I haven't projected for 750 rushing yards as a quarterback. If he could, even if he drops that down to about 450, 500, I like Goddard here at 6.
Interesting. I still think that the Eagles are going to change their offense up, and they're going to do less running with Hurts, more throwing with Hurts now.
So
your number 5.
Number 5, I have Dalton Schultz from the Dallas Cowboys. Finished 3rd last year. I have him projected at 6th overall. In his first 3 seasons, he had a total of 76 catches, 737 yards, 4 touchdowns. And last year was the breakout year, 78 catches, 808 yards, and 8 touchdowns. And I have him projected. He should match those numbers. Right now, I have him at 76 catches, 781 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And I like him because right now, from the top 4, Schultz average draft position is 79.2. So you're still getting top tier talent at the tight end position, either in round 6, 7, or 8, depending on where you're putting Schultz.
Yeah, and I think honestly he's going to play a big part in the offense without Cooper now being there and Wilson. I think he's going to be even a bigger part now in the offense.
And he is going to – oh, go ahead.
With Dak going forward, and especially because he's going to want a big payday next year. He's going to have to perform really well.
Right, agreed. That's what I was exactly going to say. They did not come to an agreement, so he's playing on the franchise tag this year, which is still a lot of money, but they all want that long-term deal. So we'll see what happens with Schultz. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt. But yeah, that's why I have him at number 5.
Alrighty, and your number 4.
Kyle Pitts, great rookie season. Finished 6th last year and only had 1 touchdown. So if he can get that touchdown number up, which I think he can with Mariota throwing him the ball. So last year, let's see here. He had 68 catches, 1,026 yards, and that 1 touchdown. And I have him projected almost the same, but more touchdowns. 69 catches, 970 yards, and 4 touchdowns. That making that little jump from 6 to 4 this year.
Yeah, I think honestly that's where it's going to come into it is he's going to have to jump up and get touchdowns. With only 1 touchdown last year, that kind of hurt his fantasy numbers because if he had 6, 7 fantasy or touchdowns, his fantasy numbers are through the roof. So that's what's crazy is the fact that he still had great numbers and only had 1 touchdown.
Do you know who that touchdown was against?
The Jets in London.
Yep, the Jets in London. So, but yeah, exciting player in the other dynasty league I'm in. I was able to draft him this year, so I'm excited for him there.
I was gonna say in our fantasy dynasty league, you ain't got him because I have him.
No, I have him in the other one.
I was gonna say I have those rights; they're owned. You're number 3.
Mark Andrews from the Ravens. Some people might think I'm nuts here. I don't know. Mark Andrews, first 3 seasons, he averaged 52 catches, 702 yards. He was still getting 7 touchdowns a year, but last year, man, he just jumped. 107 receptions, just under 1,400 yards and 9 touchdowns. I think those numbers come down a little bit. I have him projected at 95 catches, just under 1,200 yards, still with 9 touchdowns. But coming back off of those catches, especially if it's PPR, not having those 12 catches is gonna bring him down.
Overward says,
Yeah.
"Yo, sorry for not being here in a while. Been really busy with stuff, unfortunately."
No, that's all right, Overlord. And we seem to miss each other on Fortnite. We've added friends on Fortnite, but anytime I'm on, he's not on. So I assume when he's on, I'm not on. I'm not on.
It's usually how it works.
Yeah. So thanks for stopping by. Thanks for being here. I know you're signed up for the Fantasy Football League, so hopefully you're still interested in participating in that. Right now we're still at 6. I did send out some more invites, but guys just haven't signed up yet. So
my only thing with Andrews is I think he could be worth a lot in fantasy just because without any clear favorites at wide receiver besides Bateman, I think Andrews is going to be a really good safe spot for him and Lamar.
And that is, I mean, I do have, like I said, I have him projected at 95 catches, 1,200 yards, and 9 touchdowns. So it's not, even though I have him at 3, it's not like he's going to be bad this year.
Mm-hmm. Overward says he's got to make some. He's definitely going to make some time to play, and that he's still in for fantasy.
All right, good. So once we fill up, we'll definitely make sure everybody can pick a draft night. Once again, Overlord, thank you for being here. Thanks for commenting in the chat there.
All right, and then your number 2.
My number 2 is Darren Waller from the Raiders. Waller only played in 11 games last year. Also averaged 12.1 points a game, like Hawkinson did. And if you would have averaged that over the 17-game season, that would have put him at 210 points, putting him third. He would have finished third. And I know the Raiders added Adams, but I think that move helps Waller.
Yeah, I mean, it could help him or it could really hurt him. That's where it all comes down to. But honestly, I think that he's got to stay healthy this year to be at number 2.
So, and that's true. And right now, you can get Waller at pick 43. That's where his average draft position is. So instead of taking Adams in either the late first or early second, because he's at number 10 right now, I would wait, and I think Waller is going to put up just as good as numbers as Adams in that offense.
Yeah, that's I just kind of want to see how they play out. I think that's going to be the biggest question is how all those stars on one football field play out on one offense.
Yeah, so that's why I had him at number 2. Like you said, it is risky, especially with them adding Adams. But if he would have stayed healthy last year, that would have been where I believe third. I said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would have definitely changed.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Overlord says, where did you all have Dalton at? I have Dalton Schultz at number 5. I finished third last year. I have him at number 5. And he's got I have him almost duplicating his numbers from last year. 76 catches, 781 yards, and 6 touchdowns this year. And at least, I mean, he could do more. Like you said, some of those weapons are gone. Wilson's gone. Cooper's gone. So, and he's playing on the franchise tag, like Shawn said. So he's going to want to put up even better numbers than we think.
Yeah, I think that's where it's going to come down to is him really needing to perform well with the franchise tag.
Yeah. Rod Cannon's back, dropping that pokey catch there in the chat.
All right, and you're number 1.
I have Travis Kelce. I know he finished. Let me look. He finished 2 last year behind Andrews. But I think I know he's a great tight end. But I think with the new weapons they have there at wide receiver, I think it might take a little bit for Mahomes and them to get on the same page, which I think is going to help Kelce. So that's why I have Kelce number 1. It wasn't close for me between who was number 1 and number 2. I think Kelsey's that much better than any of the other fantasy tight ends in football.
Yeah, I think he's beyond the favorite in fantasy football. And I don't think it'll take long for him and Mahomes to put up numbers. Honestly, I could see him having like 120 catches this year. To me, Travis Kelce is more seen as a wide receiver just because of the things that he can do. And I think, if I'm not wrong, 2 years ago, he finished in the top 5. He had a chance to be the number 1 on yards for the year. But if it didn't come down to him not playing the last week, he didn't end up getting those numbers. So I think if he plays that last week, he could have been the number 1 and had the most yards for a wide receiver as a tight end.
Yeah. So, and like I said, with the new weapons, with the new wide receivers there in Kansas City, I know they have training camp and preseason, but it might take a little bit for Mahomes to get used to those guys. So he'll definitely be looking for Kelsey more often than those guys.
Absolutely. And then let's recap your top 10.
Yeah, I had Ertz at 10. Definitely had the resurgence there after he got traded from Philadelphia to Arizona. So I expect him. He finished 5th last year, like I said, but I think I don't know. I don't know. It's just weird. I think he's going to fall back a little bit. Of top 5, nobody expected that last year.
No one did. All right, you're number 9.
Pat Freiermuth in his second year there in Pittsburgh. I think he'll be the safety valve, no matter who the quarterback is there, either Trubisky or Pickett. So I expect big things, jumping from 13th last year to number 9 this year.
Number 8.
Hawkinson from Detroit, 15th last year. Like I said, he did miss 5 games, and if you average those points out that he had in the games that he did play, he would have finished 4th last year. So I think going from 15 to 8, even though they have St. Brown and drafted the kid from Alabama at wide receiver as well, and I believe they signed somebody too. So that's why I have him jumping back up to number 8.
Number 7.
This is where I have Kittle. Too big of a question mark for me there in San Francisco at the quarterback position. But like I said, when we first showed the rankings, I have Kittle's there at 7. But if Jimmy G somehow stays in San Francisco and plays, he jumps into my top 5.
Yeah, I think without a doubt, if Jimmy G plays, he's in the top 5 of anybody. Alrighty, you're number 4 or number 6.
Number 6, I had Dallas Goedert from the Eagles. Adding AJ Brown to the mix is going to open up the field even more for Goddard. But my biggest concern was Jalen Hurts. He's got to stop running the football. He can't have 700, 800 yards as a quarterback rushing. We need him to bring that down to about 450, maybe even 500, maybe even less, and pass the ball even more, which you think they are going to do. So that's why Goddard makes the jump from number 9 to number 6 for me.
You're number 5.
Dalton Schultz from the Cowboys. Kind of came out of nowhere, like I said. In his first 3 seasons combined, 76 catches, and then last year he has 78, making the big jump. So that's why I expect him to duplicate his numbers. You think he might even beat those numbers with some of the wide receivers that had left Dallas. So that's why I have him at number 5.
Number 4.
Kyle Pitts finished 6th last year. And like I said, biggest thing last year was he only had 1 touchdown, and he still finished number 6. I think having Mariota at quarterback, he gets more touchdowns. Should still get the same amount of receptions, same amount of yards, just more touchdowns, taking him from 6 to 4.
Yeah, I think that's where his issue is the touchdowns, but I think he jumps up this year with Mariota. Number 3 for you,
Mark Andrews. There's just something and this goes back from a couple years ago. I had Andrews on the team, on my fantasy team, and he absolutely was trash. So that's why I really don't like him. But man, what a big jump! He had 107 catches last year, just under 1,400 yards. So I think those numbers do come down this year. 95 catches, still 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns. So dropping him from number 1 last year to number 3 this year.
Your number 2?
Waller, like I said, Waller missed 6 games. If he would have played in those 6 games and averaged the 12.1 points he was getting, he would have been third in tight ends. And I know they added Adams this year on that offense, so I think that could open up things a little bit. It'll just be, how many times does Carr pass the ball in that offense?
Yeah, that's the biggest question: is how much more passing do they do? And then your number 1.
Of course, Travis Kelce with the Kansas City Chiefs. I love Kelce with the Chiefs. I think, like I said, the new wide receivers in Kansas City going to take a little time to get used to Mahomes. So why that's happening, Kelsey's going to add up a bunch of catches, yards, and touchdowns.
Hey, and that was your top 10.
Yeah, that was my top 10. Yeah. Let's see if there's anything happening in the chat here, Shawn. We got 5 people watching, so thank you, everybody, for watching. Shawn and I live stream every Thursday at 7. Sundays at noon. We had talked about it. I don't know if I will be doing it. Shawn, I don't know if you'll be joining me. The first preseason game is Jacksonville and Vegas, I think, in 2 or 3 weeks. And 3 weeks, I believe. And I'm going to live stream during that. We'll do our 7 to 8 show, and then I believe that game starts at 8, and we'll live stream during that as well. Maybe just the first half while we know the starters are in and stuff like that. Maybe test out some new streaming software that night as well.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
So let me just go back, make sure we're not in the middle of make sure you were not in the middle of an ad. Ad in progress is 15 seconds. So let's run that. Let's run that through. Like I said, what did he say? Overlord said he just hopped into the Discord. Oh, thanks for joining. I'm still working on that. So many more things to be posted over there. So thanks for joining in that. Let's see. Let me go back, Shawn. So ads are done, Shawn. So do you need me to run the slides, or are you going to take care of that as well?
I'll take care of them.
All right. I'll keep an eye on this. I'll keep an eye on the comments here.
All right, my number 10. He wasn't in your top 10, but he's in mine at number 10. I have Dawson Knox in Buffalo. I think that he's still going to play a really key role in the Buffalo offense. The first 10 weeks last year, he was really big in the offense. He was scoring almost on a regular every game. And for that's why he's in my top 10. I still think he's going to get enough touchdowns because in the red zone, if they don't get in with anyone else, Diggs is going to get covered and Davis are going to get covered. That's going to leave Knox open a lot. So I think that's why Dawson Knox is going to be a top 10 tight end this year. It's just because of the amount of touchdowns he's going to be able to get.
And if you think if you have him in your top 10, right now he's got an average draft position of 78. So that's round 7. So what are you thinking? You taking him that earlier, or are you hoping people are sleeping on him and he falls a little bit?
I'm hoping people are sleeping on him and he falls a little.
Because right now that's actually higher. Dawson Knox right now is 78.5, where Dalton Schultz is 79.2.
Yeah, so I guess it all comes down to what people personally want.
Mm-hmm.
And then my number 9 is Dallas Goedert. I just think he goes down a little bit just because of the amount of weapons he has. I think that's what's going to hurt him overall. You're not going to see as many 30, 40-yard gains out of him like you were last year. And then staying healthy is another key part. He has to stay healthy and on the field, especially with that offense now that they need as many people on the field as they can get. So I think that's going to lay a big piece in the offense. Like I said before, I think Hurts throws a lot less. So I think that's going to help a lot of the receivers out, which obviously is going to help out between Smith, Goddard, and A.J. Brown.
Okay, I liked Goddard a little bit more than you, but that's okay. But we'll see. We'll see where he ends up.
And my number 8, I have Zach Ertz up at number 8. I just think that because of only having Hopkins and having Brown and losing Williams and only having Connor now as a backup or the backing running back, I think that helps Ertz out a lot because when they have the short downs like a 3rd and 3, a 3rd and 4, Ertz is going to be able to go out there and he's going to be able to get you those 3, 4, 5 yards. He's going to be able to go and get what you need to get a first down.
So yeah, I mean, I had Ertz at 10. You have him at 8. That's probably the perfect spot for him. Let me look. Ertz right now, average draft position 109. So
Yeah, he could definitely be worth a late draft deal for sure if he
maybe
gets a good amount of fantasy points.
and maybe even a backup.
Yeah, he could be a really good backup to have if you get a good one early.
Yep.
All righty, and then my number 7 is T.J. Hawkinson. I have him up at 7. I think that's kind of where his high is for the ceiling. But I could also see him going down to like a number 10, maybe 11, just because of the offense now with DJ Chark being added and Swift hopefully staying healthy for the full year. But again, Hawkinson, he's got to play the full year. He's injured a lot. He gets banged up a lot, and that hurts his numbers every year. You got to be able to play all 17 games to be a top 5 tight end in the league. And if he played all 17 games, without a doubt, I think he's top 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
and that's what I said last year. He would have finished 4th if he would have averaged those points and stayed healthy. So that's why I had him at 8, and you have him at 7. So we're pretty much on the same page there.
My number 6, I have George Kittle here. There's too many question marks. Who's quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of offense do they have with said quarterback? And they're now going to be playing a tougher defense with the Rams. They're going to be playing a tougher, probably an easier defense with Seattle now, but they're also still playing the Cardinals defense, which is still pretty decent as well. So that being said, you got to be able to put up the numbers. And if Debo's playing the full year, Ayuk steps up, then you got to hope and pray that Garoppolo is still playing, because if not, Trey Lance is not going to be able to feed all those wide receivers for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And tight end, should I say.
Yeah, I agree. That's why he dropped for me as well this year. The quarterback situation there.
My number 5, I have Darren Waller here. You had him up at number 2. I have a number 5. Why number 5? He's a top 5 tight end without a doubt in the league, but there's too many weapons there. The numbers, that's what hurts it for me, is the amount of weapons he's got to average. Carr would almost have to average to give everybody the ball enough in a game. He's going to have to average almost 35, 40 completions a game, if not 50 almost, maybe even a game, to be with Waller, Adams, Renfro, Jacobs. So that's my only concern, is the amount of weapons that could hurt Waller's amount of numbers and catches he gets a game.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, how much are they going to be? How much is Carr going to be able to spread the ball around? Those AFC West matchups could be very high scoring, so that could help some of the weeks. I know they play each other six. They play each team twice in that division. So hopefully some of those matchups are very high scoring, and we get some like 45-38 games. Because those would be fun.
Yeah, those would be a blast to be watching, and for fantasy numbers as well, unless you have the defense.
Right.
My number 4, I have Dalton Schultz here. I just think because the weapons that the Cowboys lost, I think that helps Dalton Schultz out a lot. And he's going to have a prove me year. I want to get paid. I want to get paid a lot. And I want to be a star tight end in the league. So without that, you can't go up and put in, 35, 40 catches a year. You got to go out and you got to be putting up 75, 80 catches a year. And I think he can do it, especially in an offense that now has CeeDee Lamb and really no clear-cut wide receiver after him. I think Dalton Schultz has to step up and be that person.
Yep. And like you said, I mean, contract year. He's hopefully he does stay healthy, and hopefully he puts those same exact numbers up or even better. Which you thought he will, just because, like you just said, the weapons they're missing from last year. So the Schultz, he's probably honestly probably for me probably the only Dallas Cowboy I would draft.
Yeah, without a doubt, for sure, because you almost can be safe with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then my number 3 is Kyle Pitts. You had him at 4. I have him at 3. I just think that he makes a big jump in the touchdowns he has this year. And I think with those numbers, it helps him out a lot. And I think that helps him become a better fantasy player with the amount of touchdowns he's going to be able to get. So I think that's where he makes his jump. I think he averages the same amount of catches he did last year, the 1,000 to 1,200 yards. But I think he's going to have to go out and get 5 to 7 touchdowns to be relevant as a number 1 tight end.
Yep, agreed. And that's where I had him. I have him projected at 4 touchdowns this year. Like I said, he had that one last year in the London game against the Jets. And I have in my other dynasty league, I have him as my tight end. So hopefully he's got a great season this year. Just not on weeks I'm playing Shawn.
My number 2 is Mark Andrews. I just think because of Lamar and Andrews, they have a connection. They're the only really ones that have a connection there. So I think that's going to make a difference because they already know how they play. They know where they know where the safe spot is. They know what's going to get to win games, and I think they're going to get it done to be able to win games. Do I think that he's not a clear number 1 favorite there in Baltimore? No. He is absolutely the number 1 favorite. He's going to be able to get the catches, the yards, the touchdowns. We saw what he did last year. I think he's going to be able to duplicate it again this year and only be even possibly better with being out other main weapons as in Marquise Brown.
And like I said, and I let this affect me. This is what hurts me in fantasy. I let guys. I had Andrews like 2 or 3 years ago, and he was complete garbage. Couldn't stay healthy. Of course, that's the year I have him. Then the year after that, he sets the world on fire. Like I said, he went from averaging 52 catches a year to having 107 last year, almost doubled his career average.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Before you go to number 1, Harold's here. Heck, Baltimore, let's go, Goff. Oh man, Goff. We have Goff number 1 at every position, don't we, Shawn?
Absolutely. And then my number 1 is the tight end GOAT, is Travis Kelce. I just don't think you cannot have him as number 1. There's no one in my mind that could be a number 1 over him just because of the numbers he puts up. He's healthy. He's playing every game. He's almost playing every down on offense. It's rare to see him come out of the field, and I think that's why he's a number 1. He's Mahomes' favorite. They have that connection, and they go out and put up insane numbers. I mean, look at the games last year that he put up. He could go out and win you games as a football team, not only fantasy numbers, but just in general.
Agreed. Harold says that's how you win championships. Who's that? Putting Goff at number 1. Number 1, Hawkinson. Neither one of us had. We both had Kelce at number 1. Where did you have Hawkinson again?
We'll do that in my recap here.
Okay, I had him at number 8. But go ahead and do your recap.
Yeah, my number 7 or my number 10 was Dawson Knox out of Buffalo. I just think he is going to favor a big part in that offense still, a big throwing part of that offense. Number 9 is Dallas Goedert with new acquisition of A.J. Brown. That's going to hurt the numbers down a little bit, so I think that's why Goddard's down to my number 9. My number 8 is Zach Ertz. I think it's a safe spot for Kyler Murray. Down short, get you a few yards, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. He's gonna be able to go and get you the first downs.
Mm-hmm.
My number 7 is TJ Hawkinson. I just want him to play all 17 games. I think that's my only concern is he's got to play all the games.
Like I said, Hawkinson. Sorry, Shawn. Hawkinson would have been number 4 last year if he would have averaged those points over all 17 games, but he did miss. I believe he missed 5 games, so got to stay healthy.
Yeah. My number 6 is George Kittle. My only question is who's his quarterback and what kind of offense is playing with that said quarterback. I'm not going to be safe drafting him first, second round, knowing that he has Trey Lance, and we're not really sure how he's going to play with an offense. So that's my concern. My number 5 is Darren Waller. I think with the amount of weapons he now has, that's going to hurt into his amount of receptions he gets a game. Without Adams, I mean, he's going to be averaging 8 to 12 targets a game, 6 to 8 catches a game. So now with Adams, does he feed into only get 6 to 8 targets a game and maybe 4 to 6 catches a game? So how does that change everything for him? My number 4 is Dalton Schultz. Why 4? I just think because of the weapons that are not there anymore. Wilson's gone, Cooper's gone. Who steps up? Dalton Schultz. And I think that helps out the Dallas offense, and I think that's going to be him getting a big payday at the end of next year.
Yep.
Number 3 for me is Kyle Pitts. Why 3? I think he steps up from his yardage and targets he had last year and receptions, and he jumps up because he goes from 1 touchdown to, I think, 4 to 5 touchdowns without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 for me is Mark Andrews. He's kind of Lamar's go-to now. I think he's going to be the number 1 guy with targets, receptions, yards, touchdowns, everything across the board for purpose yards, for being a quarterback to a position player. Andrews is going to cover that with Lamar, I think, this year. My number 1 is obviously Travis Kelce. He cannot have him at number 1. If he's not a number 1 tight end and anyone's taken anyone else before Travis Kelce in fantasy numbers that isn't a rookie draft, then I want to know who you're drafting and why you're drafting him, because I kind of want to know what your reasoning is. Why are you taking someone else over Travis Kelce? What is the purpose?
Yeah, right. Agreed. So, yeah, I like your top 10. The only one we had different, like not in the top 10. You had Knox at 10. I did not, and I had Freiermuth at 9, where you didn't have Freiermuth at all. So, the other 9 tight ends we both had somewhere. And after that, there's a pretty big drop off in tight end talent.
Yeah, and that's kind of the only problem with tight end position. You got to draft them early. In a draft, like I would say no later than probably a 6th to 7th round. If you want a good tight end, that's probably about when you have to have him drafted by. Travis Kelce, obviously, you're lucky if he makes it out of the first round. Mm-hmm. He's not making it out of a second round for sure.
Yeah, right now Kelce's average draft position is 13.4, so definitely early second. Right now he's averaging early second, but once leagues start heating up a little bit more, that number could either jump. Like you said, I could see a lot of people taking Kelce in the first round this year.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the big thing is how early does he get taken, because teams or people fear that without Hill now, Kelce's going to only get more numbers. But I think McCole Hardman, I think Juju, and I think MVS is going to make a big part in that, so that could hurt into Kelce's numbers too.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's why I put mine when I had Kelce at number 1 also, and I think he has a better start to the year than second half of the year, just because Mahomes will get comfortable with those receivers, hopefully.
Yeah, I think regardless, I think still Kelce's going to be the favorite.
So let's look here. We're not doing kickers. There's just kickers are way too crazy, especially on a weekly basis. You don't know what any kicker is going to do. The only guys you can almost guarantee what they're going to do are Tucker and Bass from Buffalo.
Yeah, Buck. I think Bucker too in Kansas City,
Oh, Kansas City, yep.
and McPherson as well in Cincinnati.
Yeah, bless you.
Thank you.
So and defenses, we're not going to go over defenses either.
That's the most irrelevant position ever in fantasy.
Yeah, and actually, the new new dynasty league I joined, we didn't draft defenses, so we don't
Yeah,
use defense at all.
that would be a great thing for me because I'm not a fan of defenses at all because it all comes down to pure luck each week.
Yeah, yep. So yeah, so we did our rankings. We did a show for quarterbacks, top 10, running backs and wide receivers. We did top 20s of each of them, and now tight ends top 10. Um, yeah, Sean, like I said, I know we're 8 weeks away from the season. It has started going pretty quick here. We started the countdown with I believe 98 days to go, and we're at 56. So moving pretty quick here.
Yeah, I mean next Thursday starts training camp for most teams.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I mean, you only have 2 weeks then until the first preseason game. So you think about it, preseason's only right around the corner. You only have about 3 weeks, 4 weeks till it's open for everybody.
Yeah, preseason starts in 3 weeks. The first Thursday night game there is 3 weeks away. So, yeah, Shawn and I will still be live streaming every Sunday as at noon as well. It's Thursdays. Some different things coming. We're going to start taking a look into teams a little bit more to see what players we kind of like on a team basis. Hopefully have some guests on as well.
Mm-hmm.
From those teams, maybe some YouTubers that like I know we've had Payo Time on our channel here on Twitch before, even though he's a LA Rams YouTuber. He said he'll come on and talk about the Rams. So that's what's in store. Once games start, you know what I'll start working on as well, Shawn? I'm going to start working on week 1 projections. I haven't done that yet, so I know. Like I said, we're 8 weeks away, but maybe we start looking at week 1 projections to see who we're liking, who we're not liking, and maybe keep track of that throughout the preseason, leading up to week 1 to see if the people we like on whenever we announce those first set to actual Thursday night kickoff to see if those guys are still the same.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see for sure what kind of changes from now to week 1 till actually week 1 itself, and what all comes about and what all could possibly change. Obviously, injuries will happen. People might lose starting roles. So there's a lot of things that could happen.
Oh, and we really didn't talk. We know, I forget, I think it was last week, Baker gets traded to Carolina. Now, they say there's going to be a quarterback competition. Do you think there's any way Sam, I guess there's always a way, but Sam Darnold beats out Baker Mayfield?
No, I don't think it happens. I think Baker is the. Why else would you trade to get him?
And if you do that, do you keep Darnold?
Yeah, I think you keep him as a backup just in case. He's probably not going to be starting very often if he ever gets a chance.
Agreed. And those guys will both be free agents after the year as well.
Yeah, so Baker, I mean, could end up playing this year and have a great season and actually get a contract and be able to maybe find a new home that wants him and not be like Cleveland.
Well, and that'll be the same for, I know a guy you're high on, Saquon Barkley there with the Giants.
Yeah.
He'll be a free agent as well, so hopefully he can stay healthy this year and get back to running the ball like he can.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big thing is to seeing who all stays healthy, honestly, just because you got to stay healthy and play all these games in order to be a great player, as well as being able to get a big contract at the end of a year, especially on a contract year. You don't want to go out and be injured week 1, week 2, and banged up all year long and then not getting the money you deserve or to think you deserve at the end of a year.
Yeah, so we'll cut it short again this week, Shawn. Not much going on in the chat. So we'll keep these streams short while we can, because once the season starts, I think some of our streams might be able to go a little bit longer, hopefully into the Thursday night games as well.
Without a doubt.
So once again, thank you everybody that was here. I know Overlord was here, Rycanon was here, Harold's here now. Guys, thank you for always showing up. You guys are usually always in our streams, especially Thursday nights. So Shawn, I will see you Sunday. Have a great night, bud, and we'll talk to you later.
See you guys. See you on Sunday.